this the point where we say welcome to Undercooked Analysis and happy Halloween, everyone?
Yeah, hey, we're getting real close now. Ain't we?
Yeah, we are.
Ain't we? But I'll say this episode is, I mean, Dregs might come out later, but this episode is coming out before Halloween still. So we hope you all are having a good season out there. Having fun but staying safe as much as you can. There's been a lot of cool stuff. I actually just got, before we got recording this, I just came back from checking out a little neighborhood haunt down the street. So these people had set up their front yard to be like a little walk-through haunted house, and it's surprisingly elaborate. I thought it was pretty neat.
Cute. I want to do that so bad because we have that massive garden in the back, right?
Right.
And we have
yeah.
the flower beds that are normally at this time of year overgrown with like corn.
Yeah.
So I feel like it would be just really great to have them come in on one side of the yard, weave through the corn, and then go out the other end and get the candy on the way out. I want to do it so bad.
So
and
you
we
do
get
like a mini corn maze.
Yeah, something like that. A mini corn maze / haunt type of thing. And then like where I work, we get a lot of donations for like home improvement stuff. So we get things like doors and light fixtures and all this shit. And there's always like a really old messed up clock tower thing, and I'm like, man, we could build such a fucking cool haunt with like half the shit that comes in through here.
And you show me pictures of stuff, and I'm like, ooh, if it's not like, something cool and old and antique, it's like a scary picture of a clown.
Yeah.
But then again, all pictures of clowns are generally kind of scary.
We get some of the weirdest stuff coming through. It'll be like, I think the grossest thing, it wasn't that gross because it was like new in the box, but it was like a breast pump for like babies, when you like need like to collect milk for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
That came through and we're like, why would you donate this?
One previously
we're not going to sell
pump.
this. Yeah.
Wait, was it actually previously used or?
No, it was clean.
Oh,
so it wasn't really that gross, but also like, why would you donate this? We can't resell this. And we've gotten some really crazy stuff.
Oh my god.
Definitely some interesting things. Like you could probably fill a whole thing about like the weird stuff that's come through at your work. I could fill whole stories about the weird people who come through at my work, but that would be a little bit that runs some risk. So I won't do that. Instead, I'll talk about the stories that we have been submitted by our fine listeners, some of them well in advance, and we haven't gotten to in a while. I'm your host, David. This is Kaela.
Hi.
This is Seid.
Hi. If you hear meowing behind me, that's Percival.
Aww. And if you hear random snorting and shuffling behind me, it's Gracie, as always, fucking shit up. We're here tonight to discuss a story by our old friend Rorshack Rorshan, who last time on this show wrote a story that Kaela and I read called The Divorce.
Oh, yeah. Wow, that was back in April.
Yep. These stories were submitted to us way back. Huh?
Or was that August?
Was it August? No, it was in April. This was like earlier this year.
Yeah, because it was for our 8-year anniversary. We read that. Oh my god.
Yeah, these were actually originally submitted to us in February. They were both submitted at the same time. We read The Divorce, but I kind of saved this other one. I think it would be kind of fitting for Halloween because the story is called Fancy Being a Ouija Board Planchette. Oh, you slag, want to be a Ouija board Planchette?
What's the pay?
We pay you in exposure because everybody's going to want to come and put their fingers on.
What?
Wait, what? What kind of
You're a
job
planchette. You get to lie on a table and everybody gets to like put an index finger and push you around. That's how it works.
I think I'm gonna pass on this gig.
Okay,
Yeah.
or you get to glide around on your own. Actually, that would be more dramatic. You glide around on your own and predict people's deaths. How about that?
Okay, that I could probably do.
No one. This is one of those elaborate home haunts where no one actually touches you. Kayla and I were actually at a thing where one of the, I won't say what specifically, but they actually had a big Ouija board on the wall, and you could ask it questions, and the planchette would like move around and spell things out. That was kind of cool. So someone was clearly back there listening to us.
Also, the person moving it had quite a sense of humor because the people in front of us who were asking it questions, it actually went to say GTFO.
That's funny.
We laughed at that.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. But yeah, I guess this story is about being a Ouija board planchette, or fancy being one.
All right.
So if you fancy being one, let's read this story. I can't guarantee I'm going to do that, but I just like...
Oh, you cheeky tot.
As the Pope Catholic.
Okay. How are we gonna? What order are we gonna do this in?
Let's consult a Ouija board and ask the Ouija board, hey, who should read this first? Oh, I don't have a Ouija board.
Let's go in order of age.
David, you're older.
Well, age before beauty, right?
Fuck you.
Traveled all over the world to seek out the weird and wonderful and black magic in the other side of the world. It is so much darker, grittier, and horrid. There's nothing pleasant about black magic in poorer countries, and it is a force used for revenge and having an advantage over someone else. You can say that the problem with black magic is humans and their greed, jealousy, and psychopathy, leading them to use it for other means. I remember traveling to Bangladesh many years ago, and it was like landing on a different planet because everything was different from our culture, or different from culture, religion, and the way they did things. Okay, I mean, we had this issue with the other one. It was it's a little bit sporadic in terms of the grammar, but it's okay.
I think it just needs a
just a touch up. Poverty was everywhere, and it was so normal, and the begging was constant, but at the same time, there were pleasant things, like the great views of the farmlands and the nice people that were there. The food was also amazing.
Wait, who's older, you or me? Aren't I older?
Yeah, you're older than I am. I remember
Okay.
I'm the baby of the creative horror group.
That's right. I couldn't remember.
That's still funny to me because we were all pretty much like there's people I work with who are our age gaps are way wider, but we're all pretty much around the same age.
Yeah.
What's awesome about our little creative horror family is that yes, we're all within like a year or two, or like within months of each other, and then we're all different astrological signs.
Yeah, that's true. No, and like each of us are completely different astrological signs.
That's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got
Seid is a Cancer.
Aries, Virgo, Libra, Sagittarius, a Scorpio, and Cancer.
Mm-hmm. Without outing who is who.
Well, I just outed Seid.
Yeah, but I don't care.
But yeah, I think Alan is the eldest. And then after that, it's you.
I think so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The next oldest.
And then I'm going in order right now, followed by Abby, then Seid, then Paprika, then me.
Mm-hmm. But it's again, the difference is like negligible.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Seid's only like, I don't know, a few months older than I am, or 4 or 5
Yeah,
months.
I think Paprika. I was trying to say Carla and Paprika at the same time, so I almost said Parka.
I thought you were about to say Paprika.
I think she's also in the same year as, I don't know. Okay,
Yeah.
anyway,
We're all born in the same year.
yeah. Okay, I think it's just Alan. No, is it maybe Abby too? I think it was just Alan and David who are born outside our year.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because it's Abby, you, Paprika, then I are all born in the same year.
Oh, I gotta count Ravel too, and she's a
Oh, yeah.
Capricorn. So she's I think closer to David's age.
So
Mhm.
after the like January or
She's in December.
okay, so same year as David then.
You know, it's funny, purely based on the way the name sounds. I have always liked the name Capricorn as an astrological as a sign, as an astrological sign name.
Yeah, Capricorn's nice.
Capricorn. It just rolls off the tongue real well. Capricorn. I'm a Sagittarius.
There was one time where I was talking to someone, we were chatting online, and I asked them, we were talking about their sign for a little bit, and then I was like, I'm a Cancer, and they're like, no, you shouldn't call yourself that, you're important. And I was like, no, I mean, I'm the astrological sign. And they're like, oh my god.
Who thought to name?
Well, what's funny is like, I think in the 70s they did not, when they did like horoscopes, they wouldn't call it Cancer, they call it Moonchild.
Oh god,
because they didn't want to use the word Cancer to refer to people. I have when we were doing the wall. Okay, after this we'll get back to the story.
Yeah.
We're replacing the walls in what is now my studio. Some of the insulation was like old newspaper, and that's where I like learned that, because I found this like horoscope clipping and I was like, where's Cancer? Is it Moonchild? So I had to refer to Evan. who, if we also include, because they were on the witching hour, is a Pisces and is born my year. So even if we include Evan, we still all have different, but Evan does a lot of like astrological stuff and reads charts. And so I was like, hey,
yeah,
Moonchild Cancer in this? And they're like, yeah, 70s. Wild.
Yeah, even including Ravel and Evan, we still run the gamut. It's really fascinating.
I think the only one then we would be missing, I think, is Aries.
No, we don't have a Taurus.
Oh, and Taurus. We don't have a Taurus.
My sister is a Taurus and her girlfriend is a Aries.
Oh, and a Pisces. If I drag Naru in sometimes.
No. Didn't you say Evan's a Pisces?
No, Evan is a Gemini. Sorry. Sorry. Evan is Gemini. Naru is a Pisces. So is my partner, actually. He's a Pisces.
You water signs. Yeah,
no. My closest little, like, because I have Naru and Zath, who are kind of like my council. You guys, if you're in the Creative Heart Discord, you are forced to witness the council every holiday.
Oh yeah,
we change our icons because they're both Pisces, and I think I'm just like, apparently I draw a lot of Pisces to me.
I say you water signs, and I forget I'm a water sign.
Yeah, you're a water sign too.
Hi, yeah.
Okay, anyway, I went over there to see the black magic they used and how they did it, and many warned me of its dangers and the dangers of going close to someone who can use it. I spoke with victim of black magic who kept on receiving misfortune.
Yeah, it's misfortune.
I'm regretting not grabbing my water bottle already. I spoke with victim of black magic who kept on receiving misfortune after a lifetime of great success, and the bad luck came over him like a gust of wind. This victim had lost everything from his business and even his wife and kids, who had succumbed to a strange sickness no doctor in the world could treat. He was homeless now and had gone a little insane due to his bad experiences, and now and then he would talk to himself. Then something interesting had happened, and by chance I had met the guy who put the curse on that man.
Wait, what?
Again, I've speculated this before, but like, there's a very thin veneer that separates Rorschach's work from short story one, just slightly. It's the rambliness of certain parts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I almost wonder,
I think the problem with,
I'm going to grab my water bottle. You guys keep talking.
Okay. This is just this conspiracy theory here.
Okay. But I think here's the thing. This is, story-wise, this is actually kind of interesting.
Yeah. If I'm wrapping my head around it.
Person travels to Bangladesh, thinks it's interesting, and then ends up having a conversation with someone who says, "Oh, don't fuck with black magic." But I feel like this, it's just worded in such a rambly way that this could be simplified a bit more. And I mean, the focus should just be on the character's experience rather than how do I word this? This is a little too bigger picture, and we really need to focus on
it helps that we have a location. It helps that we know we're in Bangladesh.
Yes, but it would be nice if this person said, I'm in Bangladesh for this reason. I want to focus on who is this character?
Who are we? Yeah, who is this? Why are they interested in the weird and wonderful? Will we get around to that at some point?
Why are they interested in black magic?
Who are they talking to? What do they look like?
What made them decide to focus on this? Why are they in Bangladesh? Why are they why do they travel around the world? I want to know who this character is. How did they end up talking to this victim? Is it someone?
Is this someone who has experience? Because they said there's nothing pleasant about black magic in poorer countries. Because I guess this is is it that saying like in other places where are they saying it's more like, is it saying like they know black magic exists in other places that they check it out? Or is it just that it's more common in poorer countries because people still believe in it and still try to like quote unquote use it? I get the impression that our protagonist is familiar with the arcane, or at least the occult. So
one of them are I'm not going to reveal this person's name or anything, but I've worked with someone who his profession is as a sociologist, and he focuses on the sociology of the supernatural, basically. And this is just so fascinating to me. like he has a PhD in this shit and has written books on this shit. Where it's the sociology of how people like their people's connections with the supernatural. What does this belief in Bigfoot mean to someone? How, like, when they go searching for Bigfoot, why do they do this? And also this also connects with another interesting thing is he also has studied religion, and he kind of uses a comparison to this as a religion too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this would be interesting, but the reason I say this is it'd be interesting if this person was like, oh, I study sociology and my focus is on the people's connection with the supernatural. And recently I had a focus on people's connection with black magic or something like that.
This is free. This is free. You can have this one, Rorschach, if you decide you want to expand it a bit more. That's a potentially good angle and grounded in some real world ideas. So.
Sure. Have this person be a travel writer. Maybe decide this is the angle they're going to go with as a travel writer.
I will even accept just someone who is traveling for the sake of seeking out weird esoteric stuff.
Yeah. Dark tourism is a thing. There's like a whole Netflix series about it.
Dark tourism sounds awesome.
I just want to know, I think we need more of a connection to our narrator here rather than just.
Yeah, we also don't know what time period we're in.
No, we don't.
That's the other thing.
We know we're in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
Or I assume we're in Bangladesh. Because
so he's many years ago, we're in Bangladesh. We don't know from what time period, but I guess we'll find out. I think am I the next paragraph?
No, it's me. I haven't read yet.
Oh yeah, that's right, because it started with me.
A note for me was first given to the receptionist at the hotel I was staying at, and it was the secretive man telling me where to meet him. What?
The secretive man.
I think that's the dude who cursed the other dude.
Oh. Okay.
I was about to say it was the G-man.
I dared myself to meet him, and I don't know what I was expecting him to be like, but he was just an ordinary man who managed to put a curse on his ex-employer. The reason he
Fuck you, boss.
Understandable. The reason he did is because he hated working for him, and he was jealous of his ex-boss's life, and he wanted to ruin him. He did feel bad, but there is nothing he could do now.
Oh.
I guess he still sometimes keeps an eye on him for some odd reason, but he also spotted me around the areas where black magic is being practiced. Then this guy told me about something else that has been evolved and new in the black magic world.
Oh, what's hip and happening on the black magic scene in Bangladesh? This is wild, gang.
I put a curse on my boss. Totally understandable. He was an asshole, and I was jealous of him. I feel bad,
but well, there's nothing I can do. Shrug.
I keep an eye on him, though.
Yeah, just to remind myself not to do this stuff. Hey, you want to buy some death sticks?
Oh my god.
I was instantly interested, and he told me that there was an event of some kind. Even an event? Oh, probably event.
There was an event of some.
There was an event of some kind happening in a large building, which abandoned now, and that I should come and check it out. He gave me an address, and on the day I got a taxi to the very place. There was a family, a huge, who were all crying and angry, and you can sense their disillusionment in the world. Then there were some police officer type of people to control the event, and then a man kneeling on the ground and was handcuffed. The door of the building had opened and everyone went inside, but the man in handcuffs tried to resist a little.
What?
When we all went in, the very first thing we had noticed was that a room had existed where the whole floor was one big Ouija board. The room was the size of a large living room, and I couldn't believe the floor being one big Ouija board. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to wrap my head around the sentence here. The room was the size of a large living room, and I couldn't believe the floor being one big Ouija board, and it was beautifully made.
I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
Again, if you think
but it's really halting the flow of me reading it. That's the problem.
This is definitely a first draft. Without a doubt, in my mind it is.
It has the same kind of issues as the divorce.
Yeah.
In terms of that. But.
It's not repetitive like the divorce though right now.
No, I'm actually kind of interested, but mostly because everything's so kind of like there's little details, but it's so vague. Expand, Rorschach, expand.
But I mean, okay, story-wise, it's kind of interesting. He's interviewing. He spoke with the guy, and then it turned out he got in contact with the guy who put the curse and then said, hey, you should check out this event. You go to this event, it's kind of weird. And then this room, the whole floor is just a Ouija board, which is kind of cool in a weird.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean that image is cool. Like, okay, giant Ouija board, and based on the title, we're assuming maybe this handcuffed man is going to become the Planchette or something. But definitely like the structure of the sentences and like it's making it very difficult to enjoy.
Yeah, it just this definitely just needs a rewrite.
Yeah.
I would recommend. I think I recommended this before. Just read a lot and
read your own stories aloud.
Yes.
Like definitely first draft. Don't worry about grammar. Don't worry about spelling. Just get that shit down. But
look, if you're writing this in Google Docs, look for the big squiggly blue underline.
But then go back, read your shit aloud, and clean it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's my turn.
Yeah.
There was a bit of space for spectators to watch, and then I come to find from one of the security guys, so to speak, that the guy in handcuffs had murdered the son that belonged to the large family.
Oh, shit.
Instead of going to prison, the family had decided to use the killer as a planchette for their deceased son to speak to them. I had never heard of such a thing, but fully invested in watching it all go down. And when it was time to go, the killer tried begging to the family not to not let him be used as a planchette. But you could see one forgiving soul. Not one forgiving soul among them, and especially the mother.
That's right, Percy.
That sentence was 3 lines long.
That was a whole sentence.
That was a whole sentence.
Oh my God.
Little run on.
He was forced onto the Ouija board and started to cry. He even shouted to God and nothing came to help him. And then the mother cried out to her son to speak with her. Then the killer on Ouija board started to move around the Ouija board, but he wasn't making the movements, but something else was.
Okay, that part needs a little more. Again,
repetitive. But
it's
in terms of the certain words and certain things. Like,
yeah, but
again,
yes,
grammatically.
I do wonder if maybe English isn't their first language.
We had talked about that before.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I hope after, because you guys got submitted these for a while ago, that they've had more time to write and practice. But this feels like very, very early first writings, kind of. That's, just because of the run-on sentences and the way things are structured, they're still learning, which is great, because I think that means they got all this potential. And like, so far, the concept of like using a killer, like this whole concept right now, I love this concept.
Yeah, I'm
cool.
Like the story that is being told, grammar aside, is really neat.
Yeah.
Yes.
The one thing I think should be described a bit more is he's being moved. I'm like, well, what does that look like? Is he like on the ground and it looks like or is he floating? I need an idea of how this guy
is there like, does it look like there's an invisible rope that's jerking him around? Like that would also definitely add to the image.
Yeah, is he being dragged across the floor by some invisible force? Is it painful? I mean, maybe the next paragraph will clear that up, but we'll see.
You could tell that it was uncomfortable for the man being used as a planchette, and every question the mother was asking for her deceased son, the killer's body would be used to go to a specific letter or to a yes or no. The killer begged them to stop, and he wasn't enjoying it at all. And the reason this man killed the son was because he was begging for money, and when it wasn't given to him, he had killed the son in the heat of the moment by using a knife. How does he know this? How does our narrator know this?
Probably through the course of the thing, they learned it from the killer.
That needs to be told. Anyway. After 3 hours of this, Jesus Christ.
They had a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah.
Moms, they got to know, are you eating right? Are you in heaven or hell? Were you, whatever else mothers ask.
Are you changing your underwear every day?
There you go. Percimo, can you guys hear him?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
Not like we've had the dog not bark so many times.
People like cats. They want to hear cats on our show.
Yeah. But cats have a nice meow sound. It actually
it's different.
It's different from a dog barking where it's like, oh God.
Yeah.
Percy, come here. I'll hold you.
After 3 hours of this, the family decided they would come back tomorrow, and the killer was to sleep on the Ouija board ground, and he was glad that the session was over, but it would start again tomorrow. Something looked off with the killer on the Ouija board, and even though I did find it cruel, I had to admit myself that I was fascinated.
Nice.
I went back to my hotel not knowing what I was feeling and wanted to check it out all over again. I couldn't sleep because the excitement was too much for me.
I'm so excited to see this killer get dragged around on a Ouija board for 3 more hours. It's better than fucking Disneyland. Screw Disneyland. Come to Bangladesh, watch a killer get dragged around a Ouija board.
Uncomfortable. How? We have no idea, but it's
through magic, black magic.
I also want to know, like, how is this being set up? Like, I know it's in a big room, but like, are people peering in through the windows?
Are they standing around on the sidelines?
Well, all we got was that there was spectator space, but we have no idea what that looks like.
Details. We're craving details because this is such a cool idea.
Yeah.
The next day at nighttime, we had all met up again at the large abandoned building, and the killer had been fed, but when he realized the second session was about to begin, he started to cry again, begging to the family members to let him go. The family shouted back at the killer that he deserves no mercy, that he should suffer till the end of time. The second session, the mother cried out to her deceased son, and the killer's body was being used again as a planchette, and every answer the deceased son gave to the family was a happy moment for the family. This time the killer was acting even more unusual, and he started to speak in twisted tongues, and he even started to float a bit.
Oh, shit.
And the family was also concerned as the deceased son's message was becoming disrupted by some other force. The killer then floated in the air completely still, and multiple voices could be heard coming out of him, and they were all laughing. Whatever he had invaded his body had ripped his arms and legs, and blood splattered everywhere.
The fuck?
The mother cried out to her son, and we all had to go out.
What the
That was
fuck?
abrupt. That felt abrupt.
I feel like maybe the idea was that suddenly there were all these other spirits wanting to convey a message, and maybe they were trying to move the body in so many different directions that the guy just got torn apart.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there could have been a little more build up to that.
Yeah, it just felt like it was just boom.
I feel like this is more just summarizing what's happening. If this...
Yeah, like this could be more of an outline.
Yeah.
And that you could then add to.
Yeah, right now this feels like just an outline. I think you could expand upon this. This could be even a longer short story. Go into details. Let's get to know our narrator a little bit, and then watch through his eyes this experience happening. Even mention, this is a great time for it to add dialogue, like between like the characters. You have the mom ask questions, and then show like build up like this. I feel like right now what we're reading is kind of an outline than it is.
Could you imagine reading this in the narrative of, say, like a Victorian ghost story?
Yeah, this is again, the story is great. It's just kind of... Well,
yeah, like I was thinking about like think about this being written by an author in like the turn of the century, and you have their writing style where they go into detail about quote unquote exotic locations, and they talk about the strangers they meet, and you get excruciating detail, but usually it's really interesting, depending on the writer, of course. Where were we?
I believe it's me next.
Yeah, we just had that crazy moment.
Yeah. The family waited outside, but the people that were acting as security for the event told everyone to go home as they were going to clean up the place. The next day, early morning, I wanted to help out with the clean as they had decided to do it the next day, and I wanted to join in. The security guards allowed me to help them clean, but we had to wear a scarf around our mouth and nose, and it had a special symbol on it, and I had asked them what the symbol was for. They told me that when a person is being used as a planchette, the very air we breathe could be swarming with spirits, and demons with spirits and demons, and sometimes you could breathe them in temporarily and become possessed temporarily.
Wow, it's a mouthful.
This scarf was essentially an oxygen mask in the magical sense, as I helped them clean up the Ouija board room and helped them clear the blood and the bodily bits from the killer. I noticed one security guard had taken off his scarf.
Also, is the killer dead?
Yeah, he got torn apart.
Okay.
I assume he's dead, like, unless
the killer is now just there.
But the interesting thing is, okay, so why if this is something that when a body's used as a planchette, it could be swarming with spirits and demons. I mean, I could believe that. Why didn't they wear scarves early, like during the whole?
That would be great if they set it up earlier, especially if like the bunch of the people who are closest to the board. I feel like this is all taking place over the course of multiple days. I feel like this would be great to be observed from one session. Like we start with one side, and then near the end is when he gets ripped apart.
Yeah, this could be done over the course of a night.
Yeah, like if the family is there on the board doing the questions, they should be wearing the scarves and like maybe security too.
Yeah, and everybody else is in like a safe place where they don't have to wear the scarves.
Yeah, like a safe distance.
And then when he has to go in and when he asks to go in and help out with the clean, that's when he gets the scarf, and then he learns what it means. But he already surmised earlier as some sort of ward. Like I said, there's a lot of potential here. I'm actually really digging this concept. It just needs to be cleaned up and rewritten like a lot. Is it yours?
It would be me.
Right here.
It was a hot day, so I can understand why he did what he did. But suddenly I could see him talking and laughing. And then after a while, I saw another security guard just going up to him and laughing with him. Then that security guard took off his scarf, was laughing to himself and talking to himself. Would also complain to the second security guard to not interrupt him when he is having a conversation. Jesus. Then everyone had noticed the security guard who had taken off his scarf, which was breathing in spirits and demons and was talking to multiple things. And the other security guard, which was his brother, was trying to make his brother seem normal by laughing with them to make it as if he wasn't talking to himself. He had to go outside, and after an hour, the security guard who took off his scarf had gone back to normal. Jesus. Okay.
You didn't need this much to say what was going on.
I feel, and then I'm curious to see where this goes, but
yeah,
that's a lot. That was a mouthful.
Yeah.
These security men were ex-police in Bangladesh, and they make money off grieving and angry family members who pay them to let them use whoever had hurt them as planchette. It was a strange way to make money, but I guess in a poor country as Bangladesh, you have to find ways to make money that aren't conventional. Weird thing to add at the end of that.
Yeah. Again, I'm not going to repeat ourselves. I think we've made our point abundantly clear, and I think the rest of it is going to make up for that. Bangladesh is rife with corruption, and with the poverty, it would force anyone to do things that are not well-intentioned. There are good people and those who help out, but at the same time, the evil is right in your face and the raw animal nature of humans on display. I enjoyed seeing the farmlands and the happy workers working and the children playing as it felt so natural and something which humans were evolved more to do. I then saw the city rife with murders and crime, and in each dark corner, black magic. I never thought, though, that I would be so utterly blown away by Bangladesh as I saw a human being used as a planchette, and it will forever stay with me. And even though the man being used as a planchette was a killer, I did feel sorry for him and the way he was used as an object. We gleaned nothing from that except stuff we already knew.
Yeah,
let's just, I think we should just keep going, because if we keep repeating ourselves, we're going to sound like the story in terms of our criticisms. I think we apparent. I think we made a good point.
My time in Bangladesh was coming to an end, and my next country was Turkey, which had more structure and riches and had a party scene for holiday goers. There was a black magic scene among the Turkish people, and I was ready to meet them. At this point, I was ready for anything, and I wanted to see more, and to my surprise, what I had seen in Bangladesh with a person being used as a planchette, the same had been developed in Turkey. It's crazy how humans all get the same idea, and the person who was going to take me to the black magic areas for a lot of cash, he was surprised at me for already seeing it. Unlike Bangladesh, this use for using humans as a planchette was entertainment in Turkey, and rebellious party goers would use someone of their own will and not forced at all to be used as a planchette. The first party I had gone to was in a mansion.
So let me get this straight. The people who are planchettes in this situation are willing, and it's kind of like a weird party game.
Apparently.
Okay.
Okay.
But it's a similar ritual, just handled differently. Okay.
The mansion was beautiful and was glittered up, and alcohol was going around, and there was a huge room where the floor was once again one big Ouija board. There was spaces made for watchers and spectators to revel and be amazed at such a sight. There was a woman who wanted to be used as a planchette, and she wore special robes, and everyone was scared of her, but also respected her. Okay, why? This was a totally different environment compared to Bangladesh. Yes, we know. The woman sat down in the middle of the Ouija board, and random people started to call out to whichever spirit was present, and nobody had any kind of grudge. But then a woman on the Ouija board started to move around the Ouija board. But it was clear that it wasn't her movements, but something else. The noise she was making wasn't of fear, but of acceptance, like this was normal.
So she was going, huh, instead of, oh God. Her body was used to go a certain letter, and people were writing down the words being created. And this woman seemed to be taking it a lot better than the guy in Bangladesh. I guess it was because she was more accepting of it. And when the words formed a sentence, we all read it, I am dead and will get to you all. And then the woman being used as a Ouija board needed a break.
I'm good. Now, give me a sec. I need another drink.
We were all mesmerized. And as the party goers were eating food and drinking, one guy who was rich, but aren't they all rich? One guy who was rich had this crazy idea where he wanted to make the whole world one big Ouija board.
What?
Each country would represent a letter, and the pilot would be used a planchette, and people were telling him that he was crazy. He got a bit angry and started going off on people, and even a little physical, and angrily told everyone that he will make the whole world one big Ouija board. Security pulled him out very quickly.
Okay, is it just me, or would it have been better if it just ended with if it would have just ended with him being pulled apart and then just
the man in I feel like now the most interesting part, like we're getting a little too big, because now we've got a crazy rich man who wants to make the whole world a Ouija board. Why what's the purpose? Why? You could already do it here.
Where then there was, right?
Yeah.
Or then there were.
Yeah.
Then there were some who were worried about the message, which was, I am dead and I will get to you all. And I guess they wanted more context and meaning behind the message. When the woman who was the planchette was feeling much better, she decided to talk to some of the guests. And unfortunately, for she herself didn't understand the message. She was proud and grateful to be used as a planchette, and she found it empowering to be a tool to send messages to and from the afterlife and to this life. This was a completely different outlook compared to Bangladesh, and she was almost like a spiritual guru of some sort, and she told everyone not to fear the Ouija board, and that resistant to the powers of the Ouija is more dangerous compared to being more accepting. That could explain the guy in Bangladesh why he was having such a hard time being a planchette. The woman was ready to be a planchette again, and the spectators called out to the spirits, and the woman's body would only go to the same letters, which spelled out the same sentence. I am dead and I will get to you all. And even when we weren't reaching out to the spirits, the woman's body was still moving on its own, spelling out the same sentence.
I kind of like the funny part is I will get to you all. It sounds more like, give me a second, I'll get to you all in a moment.
Yeah, hang on. Yeah. I'll get to you one at a time.
I'm a waiter. I'm dead inside. I'll get to you all eventually.
This is a commentary. This is the ghost of a service industry.
Yeah.
In Turkey.
At one point, it looked like. Oh wait, yes, me.
Yeah, it's you.
Okay. At one point, it looked like the woman wasn't breathing, and her eyes were empty, dead. I used to play bass for Empty Dead, and we all ran onto the Ouija board trying to stop her body from being moved. Why? Why would you all move? Okay.
Yeah.
But whatever it was strong, so strong. We all got off the Ouija board and just staring at the woman's body being moved by whatever force and the sound it was making when being moved onto the floor. That sound was horrifying to us all now. Everybody's smiles turned upside down. We were all so scared. And then her body stopped moving on its own. The woman's body then lifted itself into the air, and first her arm came off, touched one of the spectators, and wouldn't come off. First her arm came off, touched one of the spectators, and wouldn't come off. Oh, like it was grabbing onto.
I think so, yeah.
Then the woman's leg came off and touched another spectator's head and wouldn't come off.
Magnetized.
The woman floating in the air kept on shouting, I am dead and I will touch all of you.
This is a horny ghost.
Arms and legs reattached themselves back to the woman, and she went back down to the floor. She was completely fine.
What?
I will touch you all.
Her limbs detaching didn't kill her like it did the murderer. That's okay. I guess really when you're accepting it's fine. But the ghost was just really horny.
I honestly think this should be cut in half. Stop after the whole thing about the arms being pulled apart, and then just end it with the person's this narrator's like reaction to it. Because I think that whole beginning half is a very interesting story, and if you would have just focused on that and developed it as it went, it's very horrifying and saddening, and just like it's really a great idea. This part is just kind of like,
if it were shorter and you wanted to present it as a difference, though, you could do that too. You'd be like, "This is I witnessed the same ritual in 2 different countries, and this is how it was handled in both those places." You could do it like that, but maybe start in Turkey first and then go to Bangladesh. I don't know. Either way, it's
I don't know. It just feels. I get that they're connected. It's just not as this isn't as interesting to me as the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just me though.
No, that's fair. I mean, I'm kind of interested, but that's just because I just it's odd.
Although I do find the whole "I will touch you all"
retractable limbs is very useful. Unfortunately, anyone recording this would be impossible to do as all electronic equipments stop working when a human is being used as a planchette. Convenient.
When
Yeah,
did this
convenient.
this could have been did this happen in Bangladesh? Like,
I don't know. It should have been elaborated earlier. We only have our memories. The woman was completely fine, and she felt more blessed than ever as more activity was being used through her. And the party goers were hugging her, and they all went home. And then some of the party goers started to show signs of possessions. I then remembered that the Bangladesh security guards had told me that when they cleaned up the abandoned building, the air becoming toxic with spirits and other things. And I remembered the symbols that had used on the scarf to clear the oxygen for me. And so I found something similar to a scarf and wrote down the symbol and got out of there while wearing it. That was one hell of a party.
no shit.
I remember feeling full of energy back at the hotel, and my head just couldn't calm down for one moment.
Okay.
We're getting close to the end.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna just keep going.
Yeah, that sounds good.
2 different countries were using humans as planchettes, and one used for punishment while the other used it for entertainment. I didn't know what to think, and the Turkish woman definitely handled being a planchette much better than the Bangladeshi guy. Although the Turkish has had a lifetime of training within black magic, while the Bangladeshi, is that right?
Yeah, Bangladeshi. Yeah.
Okay, I've never heard. Okay, and then lots of lifetime of training within the black magic, while the Bangladeshi was just a random homeless guy who committed a crime and as punishment was being used as a planchette against his will. I then thought about the rich guy at the party and what he was going on about making the world one big Ouija board. I laughed to myself at the idea, and I gave my details at the party to event makers to contact me if they do another even like that, like it. I wanted to see more, and I guess I was blessed to have seen this already. I left that country and back to my own in England.
All right, that helps. This is an Englishman.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what to think really, and I really want to go back and see more of it, and I'm more curious of the black magic than I have ever been before. I was lucky, in fact, that I hadn't been cursed by a jealous individual, and I keep thinking about that man in Bangladesh being used as a planchette. I keep seeing him in my dreams. Then, as I saved some money, I created a room where the floor was one big Ouija board. Really? And I found a man desperate enough to be a planchette. He laid himself on the Ouija board floor, and I called out to the Bangladeshi man who was forced to be a planchette.
Oh. Then suddenly my guy started to move around the Ouija board on his own. And the sentence that kept being spelled out was, "I don't want to do this." And then my guy started to shout out the same thing. Then he started floating in the air and his limbs were taken off his body and blood was everywhere. Then it was all silence. And as I got a scarf and put it around my face, I was cleaning up all the blood and bodily bits. As I was cleaning, all I could think to myself was, I had brought this way of magic to England and I can make a living off of it. Weird ending.
I think it's I mean, can you? They weren't charging for money, were they?
Well, the rich people at the party were able to do it because they had the space to do it. I don't know. Look, I get the idea as interesting to make the narrator wanted to practice it himself.
Mhm.
But the ending felt kind of anticlimactic or just kind of listless. Like, I don't know. I really like the idea. There's some really good ideas in here. It's just
I actually think
There's a really good concept in here that
yeah.
I think needs to be honed in on and polished. Yeah, Percy, I'm so glad you agree. I feel like this is something that I should be like kind of just tucked away, focus on like improving the writing, on learning grammar and all that stuff, and then come back to it. When you're like, because we keep saying like, hey, expand on the details, build out those details. But if you don't have like the organizational skills to put those details into a narrative, then you're gonna end up with a bigger mess.
Right. I feel like there are details where like, oh, and then it like several details get reiterated over and over and over again to a point
and
where I
then
was actually
details that we should have learned earlier on are thrown in at the end or later on.
Yeah. Like I remember at a certain point when he repeats himself, I kept thinking about him. Like I turned to Kaela and actually very silently mouth, we know.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we get it. So
I honestly think the first half actually, as it was laid out, is a pretty good story. Like, I mean, not, I mean, again, that needs
as a premise, right?
Yeah,
like as a concept.
like as an outline. Yeah,
as
you
an
can
outline.
work with the first half as an outline for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I was like, yeah, I'm with you there. But then when it got to the part about being in Turkey and that whole thing, I think it was just it kind of just felt repetitive. And I think if we kept I find the Bangladesh story much more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And if the focus was just on that and you just basically detail that, focus on the narrator's experience witnessing this, add dialogue. Again, but then again, like Say said, develop some organizational skills in your writing too.
I would also warn that I don't know how much this writer knows about Bangladesh and its culture and like what it's actually like there. If you're going to write a setting in a foreign country, make sure that you have a good understanding and a respectable understanding of what you're writing about.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of like, oh, Bangladesh is dirty and poor, and I know it's got like the second largest economy of South Asia, so I'm like, okay, I don't know shit about Bangladesh, but like be knowledgeable when you're writing about foreign settings like that.
Agreed.
That's just my other 2 cents.
Yeah, one of the things I remember during I forget, it was at a book signing for Lana and Anne Marie McLemore.
Yeah.
And one of the things they said is like when you if you're struggling with something, research. And because the more research you do, eventually you're going to get more ideas, you'll start to learn more. So researching actually is your friend when you're writing.
Oh, 100%. Researching is one of my favorite things about writing. This is a way for me to shamelessly plug something here.
Sure. What are you going to plug?
Well, this most recent Midnight Marinara, I actually did a fair amount of research for it too.
Oh, yeah, I could. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I'll talk about it in a sec, but I want to get our final thoughts about the story out here. But I mean, it helps. It really does help. And it can be really fascinating, especially once you get broader from a subject. That way you can come at it feeling like you know a little bit more about it too. And that always helps. Knowledge is power, as Schoolhouse Rock taught us. So I will give this a freshness rating of a Turkish Ouija board party over a Bangladeshi Ouija board execution.
I will give this 3 detached fingers touching me that I don't like. That out of a whole arm, I guess.
I give this I am dead and I will get to you all to I am dead and I will touch you all.
I'm suddenly getting I Garland will knock you all down vibes from this.
There's actually no joke. My brain kind of thought like the arm like flew off and like smacked someone in the face or something.
That was really funny. But the idea that they detached and then flew back and the woman was totally fine was also, again, both of them have their merits. Both of these little sections have their merits to me. So that's just my takeaway from it. So anyway,
I I think it would have been kind of interesting if maybe like the party at Turkey had come about because someone else there had like seen it in Bangladesh and like they didn't know of the scarves because they didn't have the scarves in the turkey party.
No, it did. They didn't.
And then so like maybe all the guests start getting possessed and then you got this like mosh pit of Ouija board bodies moving across this floor.
Oh, that would have been cool.
That would have been kind of cool. And then he knows, he finds a napkin, writes the symbol, and that's how he gets out. Like that would have been an interesting way to like escalate it past if you wanted the turkey party after what happens in Bangladesh.
Oh, or
Yeah, sorry,
or
go
even
ahead.
the narrator decides to hold his own, and this.
Oh, and that's how it turns out. Yeah, he doesn't implement the scarves or something.
Yeah, he doesn't think about how to implement it, and then it turns into like a cautionary tale, and it also could show the rich people, the rich being douchebags who take something that you shouldn't mess with and try to make a party trick out of it.
Okay,
There you go. Yeah.
And then you could really lean into the whole, and then you could have it be like almost a whole anti-colonialism message.
Holy shit!
Bonus
Hey.
points. There you go.
So yeah. Hey Rorschach, thank you for sending this. I hope our
Yes.
criticism helps. Again, really solid ideas, really neat. As you can
Yes.
see, it's got our imaginations fired up.
Don't stop writing. Keep at it.
Keep at it.
The grammar and everything, all the structural stuff that comes to you eventually. Just keep at it. You got some great ideas.
Sorry it took us so long to finish this, since you submitted this way back in February.
I think I suggested this like a while ago, like in the previous one, but I recommended reading because just read books. This could be even just reading in general, or even an audiobook. Get that, because that'll give you a sense of how like sentences are written out, how different authors write stories, and then you kind of can decide, oh, you know what, I kind of like that style, and then implement it into your own style.
Ape it a little bit, yeah.
Not I'm not saying copy, but like
no, but like imitation is sometimes the most sincere form of flattery. And if you're not imitating a style completely, that's fine. That obviously you shouldn't. But drawing on that for a basis, something well known, like maybe not, again, just a style.
Yeah.
Helps.
Yeah.
I will say my writing has improved because of all, like, how many books I have read and been like, oh, you know what? I enjoyed that book. I enjoyed how this was written. I kind of want to make something like that.
Just as much as you're researching settings, you can also research writing styles.
Yes.
I mean, even if you're trying to do something fun and challenging too, like I know that several of us here have written stories where the style of the storytelling was different than just a standard narrative. I mean, you wrote a story we read on UCA that was modeled after like a blog post.
Yes.
I wrote a story that was a series of forum posts that told a story altogether. You can have fun with the way that your story is told with the formatting. Anyhow, I started to mention this earlier, but let's get into our plugs. First of all, with this show, we appreciate you all coming and listening to us. Hopefully you're having a fine October out there, and this is another bit of a spooky feather in your cap for things to enjoy. If you like what we do here and you want to submit a story for us to read, you can email us at midnightmarinara@gmail.com. All submissions do get looked at over time, and we cherry pick through them to get the ones we want. You can also join our Patreon at patreon.com/midnightmarinara. That is where our patrons can hear things like the Choice Drags, other bonus segments that have to do with both this show and Midnight Marinara, our parent podcast, and the former parent podcast, I should say, the flagship podcast.
Flagship podcast, yeah.
Flagship podcast. That seems fair. Different styles, of course. And if you donating at any level does help us out. Helps us keep the lights on, keep things running around here. And patrons, we tend to prioritize in pushing their stories forward. So if you want to get your story read right away, you send it to us through Patreon. We will bump it up in the queue a little bit. That said, the way we read stories is also dependent on sometimes who is here and how long the stories are. And again, this is for short stories. The days of reading like long epic sagas are long behind us. So just keep that in mind when you make submissions. The only other plug I want to make, and this is an exciting one, is, obviously we're part of the Greater Creative Horror Network. So please be sure to check out the other podcasts on the Creative Horror Network, including the Jameson Tapes, Trick or Track, Darkly Lit, with the Witching Hour, and for a Halloween treat for you all this year, the annual return of Midnight Marinara. I'm going to drop a first here because this is the first I've talked about like publicly. What's going to be going live this Halloween, but to celebrate our 9th anniversary, we actually have a story that all of the founders of creative horror kind of conspired on together.
Yep.
And we are releasing this Halloween, and should I drop the title?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go
All
for
right.
it.
So yeah, so keep an ear out. This episode is episode 69, by the way,
Nice.
of the Night Marinara. This is Hell or High Noon. Yes, we are doing a pseudo Western.
Hell yeah.
And then when I talked about the research, this involves primarily, without going too much into it, a certain cosmic event that took place on January 1st, 1889.
We'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. It should be really interesting. Yeah, we all work together on this one, and I'm very excited for it.
It is a creative horror original through and through. We're all very proud and eager for its release.
Did say to make it gay? You decide.
I made it a little gay.
It's always got to be a little gay.
It's on the surface, it's a little gay. In my mind, it's really gay.
Oh boy! Well, happy Halloween. That's what I got you for Halloween, Seid.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Just drop
Always
that gay.
any
right
holiday, that's the best thing to get me.
I'm gonna drop that gay right in your bucket there, and you can, take that home. Make sure there's no razor blades in it.
Thank you, sir.
Although no, say I think
Is it more problematic if there are razor blades in it? Would you enjoy it more?
Probably. No joke. Ravel approached me a few nights ago and was like, hey, there was this thing from the Halloween Ends where it's like some dude was spoilers or something. Anyway, we started a slasher murderer / we started a very gay slasher RP where some outcast dude falls in love with the slasher killer and brings him his victims. So razor blades, poison, whatever, arsenic, put it all in my gay, I'll take it.
Good evening, intrepid listeners. This is the Pasta Shade, the host of Midnight Marinara, and this podcast is part of CreativeHorror.com, a network of podcasts and creators working together to build a constructive community of horror fans. For more content like this, visit us at CreativeHorror.com.